kind of look back on it with nostalgia even now and say, gee, maybe it wasn't so bad. Some people are saying that what Republicans should do is get all three phases. Remember, Ryan said there's going to be three phases. Bring them all up to Congress right now. Of course, they couldn't get 60 votes in the Senate because Democrats are against it.
That is what we've heard from them.
But focus on it and let the failure of Obamacare fall on Democratic hands. The public would see. Now, that's not a responsible thing as far as Paul Ryan's concerned, and I can understand why he'd say that. But on the other hand, if they try to stem the bleeding, they're going to end up with blood in their hands, and that's not going to be good for the Republicans.
Not only did he say that this report exceeded his expectations, Megan, he said he was encouraged by it.
I like Paul Ryan. I've said that many times on the couch. I really do. I think he has a very tough job, especially in this specific political environment. I'm saying this with deep concern. Don't say things like that. For real. To sort of underestimate the fact that this is a blow, I think is disingenuous. And I'm not saying you just laid out very perfectly that the CBO isn't exactly 100% right all the time, but to sort of completely dismiss this as being nothing, I think is disingenuous.
Well, and to say the CBO was in favor of his plan, which is not necessarily true. I mean, he seemed to be trying to use the CBO to defend his plan.
People need to make this very simple. Our leaders need to quell the anxieties of so many people. I was trying to explain this to a friend of mine who knows very little about politics yesterday, and it's kind of like when you're in a bad relationship, but you're scared to be single again because you don't know what's out there. And I think with Obamacare, a lot of people understand that this has been a disaster, but Republicans aren't laying out a plan to replace collectively and concisely that are easing the anxieties.
And that is giving Democrats more ammunition. Go ahead.
Absolutely. No, and there are two things that I want to address because you're absolutely right. This is still Obamacare because we're still talking in terms of exchanges and mandates and tax credits which were created under this immoral entitlement. So when Nancy Pelosi mounts her high horse and she talks about the immorality of this Republican bill, this is a response to Obamacare which should have never taken place at all. You know, the Democrats had several options on the table what they could do with a stacked Congress and a Democratic president, and they chose this. They rammed it through. It was destined to fail. It was designed to fail, so it would turn into single payer.
That's it.
And, you know, and to David's analogy, what's happened now is Republicans are forced, and I don't think this is a great plan, but now they have to use a tourniquet. And so the patient is losing a leg, and the Democrats are complaining because now he can't wear pants.
And timing is going to be everything, Harris.
Well, timing, I mean, you've got people who we're approaching the halfway mark now. By the time Easter passes and they maybe get something on the president's desk, now you will have gone 5 months or so. By the time you wake up, you've lost some time with all of this, well beyond the enrollment period. You're talking tax credits even for people who don't need them in this bill. You haven't solved the problem with Medicaid. We know that 19 states chose not to extend their Medicaid benefits, so we already had millions of people who were falling by the wayside because they couldn't get anybody to take Obamacare. They couldn't, you know, they couldn't get insurance still. This doesn't really hit those issues.